Okay, everyone has to acknowledge. Okay, so now we are recording. We are officially beginning our meeting of, well, I call it Genealogy, Omaha, Carlentini, and beyond. But we also are part of the Carlentini Omaha Association and the Sicula Italia Foundation, and we have so many relationships that we're all intertwined here. Welcome to everyone, especially to our new folks. And I am going to start by asking the new folks to introduce themselves. So I don't know what particular order. I'm going to go with ladies first. How does that sound? And
That's polite.
also, alphabetical by surname. So I'm going to ask Wendy, is it Bosch?
It's Bash, yeah.
Bash, to introduce herself, please.
Silvana, abbiamo salutato, adesso Wendy si presenta.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so my name is Wendy Bash, and I live in Kansas City. I'm married for 32 years, and my husband and I wanted to come to Italy for our 25th anniversary, but we never made it there. I started a business instead. And so this year, for our 33rd anniversary, we'll be going in October.
Oh, che bello! Allora, Wendy vive in Kansas City ed è lo stato proprio giù, sono circa 2 ore e mezza di macchina da Omaha. Lei è sposata da 32 anni con suo marito e per il 25esimo anniversario si erano promessi di venire in Sicilia, ma non sono mai venuti perché all'epoca ha deciso di iniziare un nuovo business. E allora quest'anno, che sarà il loro 32esimo anniversario, hanno deciso di venire durante l'autunno. Sì,
meglio.
Beautiful.
Non c'è tanto freddo.
In the fall is nice.
When exactly was it? October, September?
When we're coming is October.
Ottobre, sì, ottobre.
Yeah. So we're going to go to Tuscany first and then Sicily.
In the chat for everyone. Wendy lives in Kansas City, going to Sicily in October. So Wendy, tell us a little bit about your ancestry. Do you have Sicilian ancestry?
Yeah, so my great-grandma and great-grandpa were both born in Carlentini.
Welcome in the family.
Yeah, and then came to Italy, but they didn't, I don't know if they knew each other, but they were arranged marriage once they got into Omaha.
Ah, interesting. I suoi bisnonni erano nati a Carlentini e probabilmente si sono sposati a Omaha.
Ecco. Come si chiamava?
Same question.
Tree? Do you have a family tree?
Yeah, I have a little bit of information. One of my bring me up to speed. So Maddalena is my grandpa's name, and my grandma's last name was Mangano.
Mangano. Here we go. We make a connection. We have a Mangano family here. Okay, Mangano. Sì, we have a lot of Manganos.
Era un mio grande amico.
And the other one is Mangiamelli, you said? No.
Maddalena?
Marilina.
Marlena.
Sarà
Marino, maybe.
Maddalena, M-A-D-D-A-L-E-N.
Maddalena.
Maddalena, but that's the first name, is not the family
name.
No.
Family name, Carlentini.
See,
Maddalena.
you see, yes. Silvana, she's our alive Facebook because she grew up in that area and she has worked for so many years in the elementary school, so she knows all the families.
No, a parte questo, c'era una mia compagna di scuola che si chiamava Silvana Maddalena.
She has memories as well. She says that one of her classmates in quale scuola? Elementare, media?
Elementare.
At the elementary school, Silvana was a classmate with my mom too in the high school. They are born both, like my mom, 1958, so means in the 60s. One of her classmates in the elementary school, her family name was Maddalena, she's confirming.
Oh,
yeah,
Maddalena.
Interesting.
Ascolta, Silvana Maddalena. Maddalena ha anche una sorella che è la signora che vende fiori, boutique dei fiori a Carlentini. Un'altra
I
che
know
vende fiori.
her. Okay. See,
La
in
conosci,
Carlentini
no?
there are two. See, in Carlentini there are just two flower shops, and she's saying that one of those, the so-called boutique dei
Dei
fiori,
fiori.
is owned by the sister of her classmate. So Silvana Maddalena, corretto?
La sorella, sì, la sorella non so come si chiama di nome, però.
But she doesn't remember the name of the sister actually.
Ma
So
comunque sono persone molto
their family
conosciute a
name is
Carlentini.
Maddalena. They're very well
Sì.
known in Carlentini. So in October, we might add a stop in that flower shop. Or
Forse tu
combine
conosci,
a meeting with them. So we
Eleonora,
can go
forse
to...
tu conosci Massimo
Sì,
Maddalena. Massimo Maddalena,
Massimo
sposato
Maddalena.
con Sesto sua moglie, però mi
No,
pare
non
che
mi
ora sono
sta...
separati. Questo è un altro fratello di Silvana, sono
Okay,
tanti.
now our W07 will start, and I start with the music. So
Vediamo un po'.
Nick has a huge
Okay,
ability.
so
Go
one of
ahead.
the things that we can do, we have a couple of different databases.
Maddalena.
And by
Yes.
searching the name Maddalena, I can
Salvatore.
show you all of those that are in my database already. So you say Salvatore, is this?
Yep,
Ah,
born
quindi le
1889.
Okay, so
Let's
we have,
see if it matches.
so do
Hi,
you,
Dana.
do you come
Massimo
off of
Maddalena.
Alfio or Frank?
It says he is the son of Sebastiana and Alfio.
So that's how we work. And then Nick will start with ancestry.com,
Yeah.
family search, antenati. A lot of us, for example, Silvana and I, we had the ancestry.com test. So we are trying to involve Italians and Sicilians as well, because over here is not that popular, and it will be easier for people looking for alive relatives to find them with the matches. But so far it's gonna go pretty good with the ancestors. So we're finding a lot. Our mother tree is a Jim Beckman. He has around 50,000 people just from Carlentini. But we cover all over Italy because each one of us has different origins. So very often we help people even from Italy, let's say, and that's how we do. Let's see what matches. What's this picture? Sebastiano
Nana.
Maddalena. That's your grandma?
My nana.
Ah, so we are in the right tree. Good. Did you upload this picture?
I did not, but I think a relative did.
Okay, so sometimes we find a lot of interesting things as well.
So according to what I have,
Regina Mangano, Rosaria
Bastiana
Mangano.
Manganao and Salvatore Maddalena had two twins, Alfio and Frank.
Okay.
Do you know which one of those is you're related to?
Dice,
Mangano.
avevano questi
Regina
due
Mangano.
figli. Dice, conosci qualcuno di questi?
Mangano.
So it's
Alfio
my
Ma
Maddalena.
questi erano tutti carlentinesi, non sono mai venuti in America, questi qua,
Are those people all Carlentinesi, never been in United States, or where is their death? No, Silvana, erano nati a Carlentini, però poi è morto nel 1997 a Omaha.
No, ma tutti questi
Died
che
in
erano qua
Omaha.
nell'elenco, per esempio, sono tutte persone che sono andate a Omaha o sono rimaste a Carlentini, qualcuno di questi.
Silvana, she's asking, can we double check the ones in the list if are people who stayed in Omaha or who stayed in Carlentini or moved to Omaha?
Well, I don't know that I have that many in the database that stay. But so is this the right family then, Wendy? It looks like
Yes.
Sam
So
was a
my
bit-
grandma is Nelly.
Oh, like my
Nonna
grandma
era
with a
Nelly.
Or
Y.
Sebastiana.
Sì,
So
but
my great grandma's
okay.
name was Sebastiana and my grandma's name was Sebastiana or Nelly.
Ovviamente.
But they put an I and a E. While
Yeah.
my grandma, she was with a Y because she was born the year after my great grandpa came back from Omaha, and he moved back to Sicily, and he wanted to give an international name with a Y, so it was Nelly with a Y.
Okay.
But that's a Sebastiana. That's a short. That's the Aka in Sicily for Sebastiana. Nella, we say in Sicilian, or the old dialect
Neda.
was Nedda with double D.
Neda.
Nedda.
Nedda.
Wendy,
And they say,
Wendy, where were
Ma
you
tu hai visto?
born?
Hai
Laredo,
sentito
Texas.
che lo sa dire perfetto, Neda?
And what is your maiden name, Wendy?
Stewart.
eh,
Stewart.
Silvana, she's laughing because Fred is able to
year were
pronounce
you
the
born?
double D
No, no, ma
perfectly.
Wendy l'ha
71.
detto
Ah, Wendy, Nedda.
perfettamente.
Ah, sì, sì. No, siccome non vi
L'ha
vedo
detto
tutti.
perfettamente.
Nedda, sì, sì. She said, Wendy, you said Nedda perfectly, like Sicilians.
Good, I'm working on it.
That's why Silvana was laughing. What should I? DNA
Yeah.
doesn't lie. That's a good
Good.
thing.
So is this you,
Allora,
Wendy?
io
Yes, that's me.
L'abbiamo trovata.
So it's my dad's parents.
Obviously, everything is starting with the Carlentini in Omaha, but in the future, we will involve Lentini, and we would love to help other cities between Sicily and the United States to do the same thing that we are doing, becoming officially sister cities and starting programs above all with education, with fundraising, project with artists. We help, for example, Sherry, she just organized last week an Italian lesson for kids with Silvana's daughter who speaks perfectly English. We help designing itineraries. So I will be in Omaha for a month and a half for 4 weeks from July 20th till August 20th. And with Marianne Sofaio, we will design a nice tour for Italians to come to United States. The same when people, they come here in Sicily. Tomorrow I will host Derek Favara, for example. That's another friend.
Hey, Wendy,
What
can you
else?
tell me when your dad was born?
September 7th, 48.
Where?
Is that Texas birth index part of Ancestry?
It is, yes.
Do they have
So-
one to every state or just Texas?
They have several states, but
He would have been born in Omaha. He was
one of
born
the
in
more
Omaha.
complete ones. Omaha?
Yeah.
poi se abbiamo tempo voglio raccontare tutta la storia di Anthony perché è troppo particolare.
If we had time, Silvana would love to share. Let's say when we go with Wendy and then with Salvatore, we will share this story. Anthony Costantino, who was with us for several meetings, and now he's in
47.
Sicily.
I was off a year.
47.
That's this one here then?
In the meanwhile, I entertain, I translate, I go back and forward Italian, English, and that's how it works.
Love it.
See,
Okay, so.
James
what were the
Claude.
names? I saw Archie was his father, right?
Right. So my grandma is the one, the Italian one that we're following.
What is her name?
Her name is Sebastiana or Nelly.
Nick, I hate to interrupt, but is there any way you can send a link to Jen Mandolfo, Carrie?
not while I'm doing this.
Okay. Would ours
Yeah.
work if I forwarded hers, mine?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so what was her surname?
Maddalena.
Maddalena.
Do you know her birthday?
September 18th. Let me see. I have the year somewhere here. Hold on.
Good job. Aspetta che lo cerca.
La mamma della mia compagna di scuola, la mamma, il papà della mia compagna di scuola ha fatto il sagrestano per tutta la vita ed era conosciuto da tutti a Carlentini.
Ah, Silvana is sharing another info that might be helpful. The father of this girl, this Maddalena, that she remembers of her elementary school, he was the caretaker of the church for his entire life. So everybody knew him in town. Ma te lo ricordi questo signore come si chiamava? Do you remember his name?
Mi pare che si chiamava Alfio.
Alfio Maddalena? Okay. So if we find an Alfio Maddalena, he might be him. And in this way we will see, but I'm sure you have to be related with those Maddalena in Carlentini because it's not a very popular, common name. There are few people called Maddalena, non è poi così popolare Maddalena.
Eppure ci sono
non ce
due
ne sono
famiglie
tantissimi.
A Carlentini ci sono almeno 2 famiglie di Maddalena.
Silvana says that in Carlentini there are at least 2 families of Maddalena.
Uno di queste persone frequenta la chiesa e conosco la moglie, conosco la famiglia.
And one of those families is a friend of us who comes in the mother church, and I know him, his wife, and the family. So that's important to create.
Se sono parenti con queste
connections.
persone, li possiamo trovare facilmente.
So if you are related with those people, we can find them very, very easily.
That's great.
See, and we can make a family reunion. See, Sherry.
And Eleonora, remember on the
Yes,
trip,
dear.
we had Sam Maddalena with us on our trip last year.
Maddalena?
Yep, Sam is a Maddalena.
He runs the big at the Santa
detto?
Lucia.
Non ho capito, Eleonora.
Sam l'anno scorso c'era Sam nel nostro tour che era Maddalena pure.
Maddalena,
in effetti.
visto?
Sì, sì.
A Carlentini c'è questo nome.
Mm-hmm.
Ora, per esempio, di Mangano, io mi
One
ricordo il mio
interesting
amico.
Development with Ancestry.com is these suggestions now that show up in the light green, which are probably correct, but you always have to verify them because they're usually based on family trees.
Allora, giustamente dice, ora poi il database ti dà dei suggerimenti che sono in automatico, però bisogna sempre verificarli, perché non sempre sono corretti. Obviously we have to verify because they're not always correct.
So Wendy, you are now officially a member of the Italians of Omaha, Carlentini, and beyond.
Well,
Welcome.
thank you. What an honor. I
I
was so excited to find that you even do this. What this amazing service that you guys have.
I think we are the only ones in the world doing that. I have in Italy, the Italian government is starting very recently to talk about the tourism of roots. So I met all the ministries and the important people who are starting to organize this, and a lot of teachers writing books. None of them, nobody has something like us between Sicily and the United States, going back and forward in Italian and English and helping people for free. We are very proud of this group that Nick designed in his head. Was his idea first, and then we immediately felt in love. See,
You should be
welcome.
very proud.
So one
My
of the
pleasure.
things that is a courtesy, just sort of as group rules, is that if you are not talking, mute your microphone, just so that the background noise doesn't interrupt others' ability to
I'm
see.
pretty noisy tonight. I'm sorry.
No, it's not you. But it's just, you know, when if you're not going to say something, please mute. That's just a courtesy. And then when you want to say something, be aware that you need to unmute. All right. Some of us, like Eleonora and myself, we leave our microphones open, but because we're kind of the hosts, moderators, that's, you know, what we need to do. So anyway, just as a rule of the game. All right, so let's see. So I see several other new people here. We've got Salvatore Santoro. Since we had a lady, now we will have a gentleman. Salvatore, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you come from, and your family tree.
Okay. I am originally from New Jersey.
Bellissimo.
And many, my original place of birth and where I grew up was a town called Lodi, L-O-D-I, New Jersey.
Lodi, okay.
Which was 99.9% Italian. There may be one or two people not Italian.
Wait, let me translate it. Salvatore è nato in una piccola cittadina del New Jersey che si chiama Lodi, proprio si scrive così, però in inglese si pronuncia Lodi, ed è fatto per il 99.9% da italiani. That's a good one.
And I lived first upstairs and then next door to my grandparents, my maternal grandparents, for many years until I was married, until after I was married. So I grew up very close to my mother's father and mother, and they were my nonna and nonu for many years until they passed, and their last name was Occhiuto. O-C-C-H-I-U-T-O. Occhiuto.
Occhiuto, interesting name. Because in Ragusa area where I live, we have a lot of occhipinti, but not Occhiuto. So they might be original from Palermo area, western side of Sicily.
Would you spell that one more time for us, Salvatore?
O-C-C-H-I-U-T-O. That was my mother's maiden name. That was my grandparents on my maternal side. That was their name. And their names were Francesco and Francesca. Occhiuto.
Okay. I will visit New Jersey in July. I will be in New York. But I will go Hoboken with another OET lady that I met a month ago. So if you will be around between the 13th and the 20th, I would like to go to Lodi. If it's not too far from, no.
I must tell you that I no longer live in New Jersey.
I see, you moved to Florida.
Born and raised there and lived many years in New Jersey until 12 years ago, I moved to Florida.
I was wondering.
After I retired from work and
I
wanted to
know
get
my
away
chicken.
from the cold weather, no more snow.
We don't like the snow. I know my chicken, that's why I was like, now we are in Florida. Okay, good job, well done.
So,
allora lui praticamente è in questo piccolo...
Weather.
Ok, va bene, Salvatore, va bene. Lui adesso vive in Florida.
My grandparents on my father's side, paternal grandparents, of course, were Santoros. And just like my grandfather's name was Salvatore Santoro.
Ah sì, allora la parte della mamma erano Occhiuto, i nonni materni, e lui proprio ci è cresciuto accanto, vicino, nonno e nonna. Invece dalla parte paterna ovviamente erano Santoro e suo papà era anche Salvatore. Your nonno was Salvatore Santoro, isn't it?
Sì.
Sì.
How
do they call?
What was the wife of Salvatore Santoro's name?
My grandmother?
Yes.
Laura.
Laura. And how do they call you in the United States?
Sal.
Sal? Okay.
Sal.
Makes sense.
Laura, what was her surname? What was Laura's surname?
Her maiden name,
Yes.
I believe, was Giardelli.
Giardelli.
Giardeli.
Silvana, abbiamo questi cognomi
Mi
noi?
sa
No,
tanto no, Bino. E
no,
Santoro,
Giardelli,
Santoro,
Occhiuto e
Santoro mi
Santoro.
sembra,
Santoro.
Santoro mi sembra che
Are
sia un
they
cognome più del napoletano, della
Sicilian
Campania.
or Calabrian or where are they
Well,
from?
Both sets of grandparents, my maternal and paternal grandparents, came from Sicily,
Strano.
Palermo
Eh,
and Messina.
Messina. Ah, certo, makes sense. Ok.
Okay, and both came to the United States through Ellis Island.
Ellis Island. Mhm.
Came to New Jersey at the time, long before I was
Mhm.
born.
I see.
And lived my maternal grandparents in Lodi, New Jersey, and my paternal grandparents in Lyndhurst, New Jersey, a few miles away.
Common story.
And of course, as a result, my father, my mother, and I was born.
And now you are in Sicily, starting your tour tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. You are in Palermo
Domani.
now.
Tomorrow,
Mm,
yes,
tomorrow.
in Palermo. And we will
Let's
be
see
here
if
for
we
3 days.
find something tonight. Are you able to go to the cemetery, for example, to catch a cab? Private, Andrea will kill me, I know, because when I give those ideas to our guests, the tour leader, they look at me like, shut up. I mean, what are
Why
you
you do
doing?
this to
Making my life more complicated. So, but let's say, oggi è
I will do anything. I will try.
Tuesday. Well, during the week, for sure, the Ufficio Anagrafe and Ufficio Stato Civile are open, but Palermo is a big town, so we might take a reservation to go to the Ufficio Anagrafe, unless if you don't need, let's say, documents, act of death, of birth, or whatever, it's always smarter to take an appointment and to contact them earlier. But at the cemetery, it's easy. I mean, the cemetery, you can go there and visit the cemetery. So if we find something, you might consider the idea to go there. Let's see what Anika finds.
I have the birth dates of my Occhiuto grandparents, but not of the Santoro grandparents. I know
Okay,
when
the Occhiuto, they
my
should be
grandmother
Messina.
were born.
So let's
start
I
the
think it's always
research.
best to start with you, Sal. So
Yes.
Salvatore, if I can get my fingers on the right keys here, we'll get going. And you lived in Lodi, New Jersey.
Yes. From 1951, I was born.
Hmm.
Okay, so you were born in 1951.
Correct.
And so we'll see what comes up. So is this your
Okay.
high school?
Yes, that's me.
That's you.
Yes.
All right, so we're going to save this to someone in my tree, add this to a new person. And so when exactly, you said 51, so you're
72.
I'm sorry?
I'm 72.
Yeah, when were you born? What's your birthday?
February 26, 2/26/51.
Okay, and were you born in Lodi?
No, I was born in a neighboring town at the hospital in Passaic, New Jersey. Passaic.
I'm trying to say it. So, I need to make sure you're a boy instead of a girl here. Instead of
I think so.
ungendered person. Okay, Sue.
Now, the William, the middle name, did not apply at that point. That was picked up when I was in confirmation later on.
Oh, okay. So, who's your daddy-o?
My father was Vincenzo.
Mhm.
Do you know his birth date?
January 4th, 1926.
I never heard of a St. William.
He was a Capricorn. Not easy to handle. A father was a Capricorn.
My father was Capricorn. I was Pisces.
Mhm.
Anche mio padre
father-
era Capricorno.
A
Si
father
chiamava
Capricorn.
Vincenzo pure.
See? Silvana says, my
Dove è
father,
nato suo padre? Where was
tuo
your father born?
padre. Tuo
My
padre.
father, I believe he was born in Lyndhurst, New Jersey, where his parents lived.
But you're not sure. Well, should be, yeah.
Well, I think he may have been born at home, not in a hospital. So I think it was
Mhm.
Lyndhurst.
Mhm.
And your mother's name?
My mother's name was Nancy Nunziata. Originally Okudo, of course.
Sì.
And she was born on, let me think again, August 23rd, 1926.
Nice couple. She was a Virgo. Wow. Very rooted people. Practical.
Was she born in New Jersey?
Yes, I
Nice.
believe in Lodi. Yes, both my parents were born in New Jersey.
Okay, so you have 11 hints for Vincent. So in 1940, Vincent was living with his parents in Lyndhurst.
And then he went into the war.
uh,
He was in the service. He was in the Navy.
Oh, great. And his dad was Salvatore, born about
Correct.
1896 in Italy.
Makes
They
sense.
also were residing in Lyndhurst in 1935. And then Laura. So let me just do this, edit all.
Now, Nick, I am not 100% certain that her maiden name was Giardelli, but I know that that was the family name that we visited when we visited relatives.
Do I have that spelled right, Sal?
I can't see it. It's very small, but it's Giardelli.
Okay. And she was born about 1893 in Italy, according to the census. And their family consisted of Peter, born about 1918, Lena,
Yes.
19,
With the right family.
These are
Concetta,
my father's siblings, correct?
Siblings. Tutti i
Yes.
fratelli di suo padre,
Yes.
sì. Dominic,
Dominic, Lena,
1929,
Concetta, Connie,
Grace.
Grace,
and
Grazia.
Grace, right?
Ah,
Okay,
we found
Correct.
you.
Yes, exactly.
Nice.
so now the question will be if we will update here. What sort of hints we have for Salvatore Santoro? So
And unfortunately, I did not get to know him and or learn anything about him. They had been my paternal grandparents had been separated, and we really didn't see my grandfather on my father's side.
Mm.
So I don't know a whole lot about him except that he had the same name as me.
Hmm.
so
There's always
in
a missing piece of the puzzle, huh?
Yes.
Hmm.
So in 1917, when Salvatore Santoro filled out his registration card for the American draft, he was an alien. He was living at 79 Prospect Street in Newark, New Jersey. I don't know, is that right, Guy?
It's very possible. I can't say if he was originally in Lyndhurst or moved from Newark to Lyndhurst. That is possible, but I don't know for sure.
He does say that he was born in Palermo.
Okay.
His occupation at that point in time was he was an ammunition worker at the American Can Company in Kenilworth, New Jersey. Have you ever heard about that?
Unfortunately, no. As I said, I didn't really know almost anything about him.
Allora, giustamente Salvatore diceva che il mio nonno, io non so molto di lui perché poi si sono separati con la mia nonna e quindi a parte che hanno lo stesso nome non sa molto. Adesso Nick gli sta leggendo l'atto di nascita, che è nato nel New Jersey, però non ho capito bene il suo lavoro, era che si occupava delle munizioni. Was a munition the one who takes care of the guns and no?
Well, ammunition is what you put in the gun. That's bullets.
Okay, that's what I thought. The powder inside the munitions
Could be.
to have all the guns always ready. Si occupava delle munizioni. Ok.
Now,
Okay,
Kenilworth,
per il militare.
we have some confirmation here of your spelling of Giardelli from the
Yes.
New Jersey marriage index. It shows that Salvatore was married to Leonarda, as she was called at the time, Giardelli. And then also Social Security application for Dominic Santoro also lists her as Laura Giardelli.
Are those the two sisters?
So that sounds correct.
Yeah, it sounds
Laura's
like you're
the English version of Leonardo, probably.
Okay.
Maybe.
Are
Now
not the two
Dominic,
sisters.
Dominic was the youngest of the children, though. The others all were born prior.
Dominic è stato
il diminutivo di Leonarda.
Sì, potrebbe
Leonarda è un nome
essere
che esiste. Io mi ricordo una signora
It's
che si
odd
chiamava
that he would be
Leonarda.
listed among
Leonarda.
the others.
Un nome strano, molto strano.
Sì, dice che Dominic è stato il
So
l'ultimo
what I'm looking
figlio.
at right here, Salvatore, is the Social Security application for Dominic Santoro. It says that he was born the 15th of May, 1928 in Hackensack in Bergen County, New Jersey. And that his father was Salvatore Santoro and mother was Laura Giardelli.
Well, that all seems to jive, but it's odd that he is listed and not the older siblings.
Well, the reasons may
Well,
be that
they
the
might
older
be.
siblings.
Yeah, this just happens to be one record that's available. They may have records for the older siblings as well. This is just his Social Security application.
It sounds correct because, as a matter of fact, my uncle Dominic lived in Hackensack.
Interesting. Okay, so I'm going to save this to Dominic Santoro. Dominic Santoro. No, I don't have a different spelling, it looks like. Dominic San. No. So let's just go with Santoro. Yeah, it's a weird spelling.
There's my Aunt Connie. I saw Conchetta.
Okay, so it was spelled this way, 15th of May, which is close to the census data. Hackensack, which Hackensack is in Bergen County, yes.
Bergen County, yes, right next to Lodi.
And he died on the 26th of December, 2001.
I don't know the exact date off the top of my head, but that sounds right.
So 20 years ago.
Yeah,
22.
22. Yeah.
So if we go back to that hint for the marriage record, and we have that alternate spelling for the mother too. We're in Dominic's. We need to go back to Sal. Look at his
Yeah,
hint.
it's often misspelled with an A at the end. That's a common error.
For Santoro.
Yes, many say
Uh-huh.
Santora and spell it that way.
Okay, so New Jersey Marriage Index. I'm going to say this is right because Leonarda and Laura look very close to me.
And I see on the next listing there Copeland Avenue, which is where they lived.
Oh, okay, good. That is the marriage for their son Vincent, it looks like, in the newspaper.
Correct. So that makes sense. Now the marriage, is there a date associated with that?
It just says
1949.
1916. It just says 1916. It doesn't give a precise date.
No, I see 19, do I see 1949 there at Copeland Avenue?
That's for
19.
Vincent, yeah.
That's when my father and mother were married,
Okay.
2 years before I was born.
Okay, yeah, 1949.
In fact, I was born on their second anniversary.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got some good information on the Santoros, but we didn't find a there's one other public tree that has information on Salvatore. Let's take a quick peek at what they have. They do not have a precise this Santoro family tree is that yours then, Sal? Did you build a tree on Ancestry?
I attempted to, but I never got very far.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that's you. It's a lot of
So
work, I have to say.
Let's go back and double check. Okay, so when I was about to add this World War I, I was hesitant because he was living in Newark, and this family story goes that he was a resident of Lyndhurst.
Lyndhurst.
And so question
I'm
is,
not.
when did from
Yeah,
Newark to Lyndhurst?
I don't recall Newark being in the picture, although one of my relatives did at one point live in Newark, but that was later in time.
So at this point, who was the ancestor who left Sicily, the last one of his family?
Yes,
I'm sorry?
did he have any brothers or sisters, Salvatore? Did he have any brothers or sisters that
And who are not to my
Okay,
knowledge, but it's possible, but I don't know of any.
so what I was kind of hoping for is a naturalization record. Let's see, citizenship records, see what we get here. So there's a lot with that name, it's a thing. And
Yeah,
this
it's
one,
a popular Italian name.
New York, Illinois, Ohio.
There's a Todd Santoro in Omaha, but he's originally from Massachusetts.
Interesting.
I think it's gonna require a little deeper dive into your guys. I wonder
I know.
his date of death. Do you happen to know that?
Now, who are we speaking of?
A hint that we had?
Whose date of death?
Salvatore's. Or
My
do you know where he's
grandfather-
buried even?
I think North Arlington, New Jersey.
Because there is the death unknown here.
Okay, so I am going to take this as a tasking for offline here, because we're kind of getting into the weeds. But let's go to Vincent for just a second here and look at the Ocultos
Well,
and Nancy.
Nunziata.
Okay, so now we're getting somewhere. This matches up. Nancy Summers, does this name mean anything to you?
Nancy Summers is my niece, named after my mother. It's my sister's
Okay.
daughter.
Right, so she has some good information, and it looks like you have the names of the maiden name of the mother was Francesca Lipari. And so she says that Nancy died in 2007 in Rockaway. Does that square
is
with what
correct.
you have?
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes,
I'm
she
going to
was-
add hers first, and then I'm going to come back and add yours, because sometimes when you try to add them all at once, it gets a little jumbled. So,
I have to warn you, I'm running low on power on my phone.
oh no.
Yeah, I'm trying to plug it in, but it's not connecting.
Oh, that's too bad.
So
Okay,
if you lose me, that's why.
So then your niece is going to show up as a ignored hint. So I'm going to go back to her. What's the deal here? Maybe it's going to be in the accepted hints. Let's try that.
Yeah, my niece is my sister Laura's daughter. My sister was named after my paternal grandmother.
Oh, I'm confused. I accepted hers, ignored yours, so I have to go to yours now. Review. And review selected trees. And I love the fact that you have the full names correctly spelled. And you don't have towns though. That's the thing, that's your task.
That's the
Sal, is
difficult
to work
part. Yes.
on- we need to work on the towns. And
unfortunately,
we're gonna come back to you. Maybe I can do some stuff offline. When are you actually leaving?
I will be on this tour in Sicily for 2 weeks, and then I go up to the Amalfi Coast for a few days. I will leave for Florida on the 17th of July. I will
Okay.
be in Italy till July 17th.
Okay, so when do you depart from the United States?
I leave from Italy to go to the United States on July 17th.
No, the other way around. When do you leave to go to Italy?
He's already in Italy. He's here.
Oh, you're in Italy now.
I'm
Okay.
in Palermo
Yeah,
now.
he's in Palermo now.
Oh, I
Mhm.
missed that part.
I was, you understood.
Benvenuto a Palermo.
That's how I
Sì.
ended up on this call, because our tour guide,
Cosa?
Andrea, hooked me up with you folks, which I appreciate.
Vieni a
Silvano.
trovarci a Carlentini.
Well, I
Silvano
have
says
I
come
have
to
your
visit us.
email. I have your email, so if I find anything between now and the end of your trip here, I will update you.
Well, I appreciate
Yes.
that. And of course, it doesn't, don't restrict it to that. I mean, I will get the email in the United States, and I would love to continue to work with you and the group.
Sure. Be happy to. All
Thank
right,
you.
so I am going to switch now to the Youngman family. Pamela Youngman, if you could unmute yourself, please.
Thank you
And
very
it-
much for your
Ciao,
assistance.
Salvatore. Enjoy every corner of Palermo because that was the city of your ancestor. So everything will talk to you. Just keep
I
your
will try
eyes
to find all
open.
the cemeteries.
Sì, try.
If it's okay, because I am out of power, I am going to leave the call, but I appreciate it, and I hope to speak with you again soon.
Sì,
It was a
I
pleasure
will be
meeting
your
you.
tour guide. Ciao, Salvatore.
Grazie,
I'll be your
beh.
tour guide in
Okay,
Ragusa.
I look
Ciao.
forward to meeting you.
Ciao. Enjoy.
Ciao.
Okay, so Pam
Hi.
and your husband, introduce please.
Larry.
Larry.
Hi,
Ciao,
Pam and
Larry.
Larry.
Ciao, Pam.
Hi.
Ciao.
So, about me, I didn't know much anything about my grandparents. My mom didn't really even know a lot because her mother really never talked about it. Her dad passed when she was like 7. So, she was born in Omaha and the last name was Saka, but they changed it to Sacco when they came to the United States. We don't know why. So Sacca is the one we found in Italy or in Carlentini.
Sciacca. Oh, no, Sacca. Has an
Sacca,
accent at the end. Sacca.
My great
Yeah,
aunt,
Sacca.
my
S-A-C-C-A.
great aunt married Sebastiano Sacca from Carlentini.
Oh,
Sacca, con la
so I had
T
Auntie Mary. But what was Auntie Mary's last name? It was Sacca, and then she married Uncle Frank. And
I'll have to look at it.
yeah, we'll have to look it up.
So where are you
Anyway.
guys?
Badaliaca? Is it Badaliaca?
No.
Saka. Anyhow, we live in the Sierra foothills of California, about an hour and a half southwest of South Lake Tahoe.
Okay.
And I'm
What's the name of the town? Because I grew up in California.
Pioneer. It's about
Pioneer, yeah.
Yeah, about 25 minutes east of Jackson,
Okay, yeah.
between Jackson
Yeah,
and Kirkwood.
Jackson was one of our foothill places that we would day trip to. So,
Oh
and
yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've been through Pioneer.
Oh yeah. If you go up Highway 88, yeah. We retired up here. But Larry
I
did a
used
lot
to
of.
do a little skiing, and so we would
yeah.
go up there to the ski
Kirkwood?
area on 88.
Yeah,
Kirkwood.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, how funny. That's great.
So anyhow, I'm the crazed genealogist.
Yes.
I've spent 50 years doing research on my ancestry, and so then I started doing research on Pam's ancestry, and have gotten back fairly far. We hired a genealogist out of Salt Lake City to translate lots of the records. But we're very interested in trying to fill in any missing pieces and then also see if we can find any connections, whether it be in Carlentini or in Omaha.
Allora, io ho un cugino che si chiama Franco Sacca.
I'm sorry, my brain is like a sieve. Tell me your name again.
Larry is his name.
Yeah, what is his name?
Larry.
Larry. Okay, so for the memory impaired, I am going to add Larry to your little box there.
Okay.
Okay, so Larry, do you have a tree on ancestry.com?
Yes.
Okay, so did you see my email when it popped up into the chat log? I think I actually may have emailed Pam this afternoon as well.
Okay. Let me see.
It's ancestorpuzzles@gmail.com, and I'll just put it in here one more time. But if you could email me, or if you want to share your tree with me, if you have that level of knowledge,
Yep.
that would be beautiful.
Okay.
And are you
Don't see it.
computer literate to the point where you could actually share your screen in a Zoom meeting, Larry?
Yes, I 43 years in IT. So
Okay.
just
So anytime you want to come and, do a little spiel for us, we would love that.
okay.
And, if you two want to tell us about your adventures, in the future,
Yep.
at one of these upcoming meetings, that would be great. And then, just shoot me a little email telling me what you'd like to talk about. We kind of like to keep it down around 5-10 minutes for presenters, to allow, people to get around the room and have an opportunity to participate. But it would be great if we could get you to do a little show for us.
Yeah, no, that would be fantastic. Be more than happy to do that.
Yeah.
And I'll go ahead.
So since you have this pretty well documented, I'm not going to add all your stuff to our tree right at the moment.
Okay.
But if you could, send me a link to your tree or something like that, or share your tree, then I would like to at least add the basics of the Carlentini folks in, so that we can see how Pam is connected.
Yeah. I love
And
that.
the Zoom invite, the Zoom invite was sent by you, just to make sure.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah, actually, I think if you reply to that, it goes directly to my email.
Yeah.
Oh, ancestorpuzzle@gmail.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I'll grant access. That's the right email to grant access to?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Can we get a Saka?
So, what'd you say,
Allora,
Jim?
Get a Saka name? Something, I'm just fighting here, chewing on the bit here, trying to figure out who these folks are.
Okay, well, let's do this. Let's show Jim's tree, because as Eleanor mentioned earlier, you may not have caught it, but Jim has a huge database of Carlentini names. And so I use it so much that I on my homepage, quick link to Mr. Beckman's tree here. That's not what he calls it. He calls it my tree surface. And so if you give me like a grandparent, perhaps, he might have it in his tree.
My grandfather was Salvador Saka. And that was changed to Sako when they came here.
Okay, so Jim usually tries to put in the original spelling. So do you have any idea when he was born or when he died?
Yes. Right here. He was born in November 21st, 1878.
Was he married to a Siciliano?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
With Maria Pazzi. Yep.
Yep.
That's
Salvatore.
Yep. I have his death date.
So Jim doesn't put the accents in, but this is actually should be an accented name. When you get over to Carlentini, they'll pronounce it with an accent on the A, the final A.
And I have his death date.
Infatti si dice Sacca, non Sacca, Sacca. Io
Okay,
conosco
well, let me
un
do this. I
Salvatore
can't
Sacca.
add to Jim's tree, so I will add it to my tree.
I have the family record right here if you need it.
Do you want the
Okay,
death
so what is the death date?
March 26, 1935.
Okay.
And he died in Santa Clara.
Santa Clara.
Yeah.
Santa Clara, the city of Santa Clara?
Santa Clara, California, yes.
So just so you know a little bit more about me, Mr. and Mrs. Youngman, I grew up in Sacramento and left state for a little while, was in Idaho, Nevada, then came back and started working in the San Francisco Bay Area. And so my office was in San Francisco, but I had buildings in San Jose and Monterey and all the way up to the Oregon border. So I'm well acquainted with all of this territory.
Okay, good.
Etc.
Okay. And I was wondering, Larry and Pamela, do you have both of you origins from Sicily? Both of you?
No, just me.
Or just I was wondering. Okay. So thank you, Larry, for this huge work.
Yeah, no.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, no problem.
It's nice to know that this exists, to put this information out there.
Yeah, and we are all connected. That's incredible.
Yeah. It is wonderful.
Sì, Silvana, stavo chiedendo se entrambi hanno origini siciliane e soltanto Pamela ha origini quindi con Isacca. I guess Carlentini and Lentini, because both cities we have a lot of Sacca actually. So even in Lentini actually. So I won't be surprised.
Enough, I already had Salvatore in my tree.
Però anche a Lentini, giusto Silvana? Sto dicendo una cosa sbagliata. Mia sorella aveva un amico che
traffic that we had.
Anche mio cugino, figurati.
Infatti.
I did this wonderful picture.
Yeah, that's the only picture I have of them. I have other pictures of my grandmother, but not of my grandfather.
Yeah, that's amazing. So do you know what costume he's wearing here?
I do not. I don't really know much about him.
There's something happening. Yeah, it is raining.
Some kind of military.
I think that this is the military service, the army. That's the army.
Questo signore mi assomiglia a Pippo Pattavina.
Pippo Pattavina.
L'attore.
Sì, un po' sì. Ma guarda questo uniforme, Silvana, con questa medaglia qua. He's got a medal. So maybe he won some important, he has some recognition. And the special hat, that's for the army. The ones, l'esercito questo. And there is like a prison, like the grill of a prison in the bottom. Like. So maybe it was in a police station or somewhere.
Oh, I think that's just
a door,
French door. Or
we don't use French doors in Sicily. No, not at that time. It must be an iron gate to protect something. Interesting.
Check the chat.
Quella porta è strana. Io non ho mai visto una porta così, con la parte in alto sopra le grate e poi l'anta in sé per sé tutta di grate. Non può essere una finestra all'inglesina. Si vede che è di ferro. Nella parte
So Chris is asking me if I can merge Wendy's and Sam Maddalena's tree and also Chris's. So that I need to look at a little closer, Chris. I'm not sure exactly where you two connect, but
well,
Nora, I'm having to mute you because of the background noise. I'm sorry. And then Dean sent me a message in the chat with quite a bit of information about Salvatore. So let's go back to Salvatore's profile, and I add this to the notes. So Salvatore, born November 21st, 1878, son of Sebastiano Sacca and Maria Campisi. He married Sebastiana Siciliano, who was born April 27th, 1884, who was the daughter of Antonino Siciliano and Pauletta.
Palma.
So, Dean, when you say daughter, is this their daughter?
That's Salvatore and
Salvatore and Sebastiana Siciliano had a daughter named Maria.
Yes.
Yes.
and
And,
Sebastiano is their son.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and he passed when he
Okay.
was very young.
Okay.
Yeah, Maria was,
had more children, but
yes. They had, Maria was the only one that was, came over to America with my grandmother. The other, they had two other children in
A boy and a girl.
Carlentini, a boy and a girl that had passed. And then when they got over to Omaha, they had 3 more girls, Sarah, Pauline, and my mother.
It's a bit of an interesting story because the Salvatore and his wife then took their kids and went to visit friends, potentially relatives in San Jose,
In California.
and Pam's mother was hit by a car and went into the hospital. They had limited funds, so they covered the funds with all the money they had left and ended up staying in San Jose.
And never went back to Omaha.
So are you related to the Mellos then, Pam?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So Douglas Mello is your
My
father?
cousin. My cousin.
Oh, okay.
My father's
which-
son is Whitney.
So are you a daughter or granddaughter of Maria?
I'm a niece of Maria.
Yeah, you're
Okay, so which-
missing Pam's
My
mother.
mother's not. You have Sarah, and then there's 2 other sisters. My Aunt Pauline, and then my mother. My mother was, well, they called her Louise, but when we got her birth certificate, her real name is Lucia Lucille.
Okay. So
Lucia, Lucio. Ok.
Ah,
Mia mamma si chiama Lucia. Her name is Lucia.
I don't know why they called her Louise, but
So we're thinking there's still relatives in Omaha
and in Carlentini.
and in Carlentini.
100%. Of course.
Because Mary
Well-
had like 5 children
In Omaha.
in Omaha.
So you must have cousins, a lot of relatives.
Yes.
so your Salvatore is in 22 trees, which is amazing.
Oh,
You
wow.
obviously are related to a lot of people.
Busy
wow.
guy.
Genealogically
Yeah.
inclined.
Il suo Salvatore è presente in 23 alberi genealogici, quindi gli ho detto, Missica, allora è abbastanza impegnato.
Maybe he had a lot of siblings.
So is this your tree
Sì,
here,
forse aveva tanti
Larry, the
fratelli e
Yes.
sorelle.
Sacca Whitney tree?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm gonna add your profile to my tree so that we are simpatico here.
Perfect.
Add
Gra-
to tree.
Mm.
And he was the 1878. See, the problem is here, I need to pick the right one because I should have merged that duplicate.
Mm.
Yeah.
So this is spelled unusually here, Larry, with the A. Usually it's Sebast. Is that, and typically they don't have middle names except at confirmation, baptism, or confirmation.
Some people in Sicily, they have the double name. I have a friend who is Sebastiano Antonio. It's when the parents they don't find a deal in terms of who is the grandfather who has to have the priority, or maybe they are afraid that they want to have another male, so they give both grandfathers' names as without a comma, so that baby will have forever a double name.
I see.
Will be called both ways. Yeah.
So your mother must be living, is that why?
No, my mother's passed.
Oh, okay.
Well, we haven't updated the
tree.
The tree.
I think
Okay, so this is all duplication.
See, those are all relatives.
Yeah, that's like siblings.
Yeah.
And further,
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna hit save, and what we need to do is get you in here, Pam, just that we can see. So what we need to do is add a daughter. And what was her name? Your mother?
My mother?
Yeah.
Lucia.
Lucio.
Lucille.
Lucia Lucio.
Yeah, but they called her Louise. I don't know why.
But is Lucio the family name?
See how those are the things I don't know.
Che strano questo cognome Lucio, no?
It was common for girls named Lucia to be named Louise in America. It was common.
Oh, okay, that's good to know. Her birthday was August 13th, 1925. And her death date was, you find her death, it was May.
I'll pull it up.
That's all right. Where was she born?
Omaha.
Okay, so in deference to Jim, we now know how you are connected here. So I'm just going to add you as a daughter just to expedite. Oh, that won't work. I have to add your father.
Oh, my father. Okay. My father's name was Rawland, R-A-W-L-A-N-D.
R-A-W-L-A-N-D.
Arthur. You need his full name?
That's fine since you.
Silvana, io adesso stacco, vado a cercare mia sorella, mi si sta spegnendo il telefono. Silvana, ci sei? Fox, I send you a big hug. I have to go to look for my sister. My telephone is dying too. I leave you alone for the last, I think, half an hour. It was lovely tonight to be here in Ortigia and have this. Was the first time I've done it in 4 years in Ortigia. It was beautiful. So, come, Larry. I hope to see you again. I will be in Omaha in August. But next year, just to put in your calendar, it will be the 100 years of anniversary, 100th anniversary of Santa Lucia, and we will have the ceremony of being sister cities. So just be around.
Okay. Do you know when next year?
Well, usually Santa Lucia is the first weekend of August, and with Mayor Stoddard, we will try to figure it out if the ceremony can be done in the same moment those days. It will be nice for us to participate to the ceremony and be part of the festival as we did last year. Our Mayor Sefio was there, and next year our mayor will come again. I'm coming too this year and next year.
Oh, okay. Oh, good.
Okay.
We'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, definitely.
See, I hug everybody. Hi, family.
Ciao.
Ciao,
Ciao,
ciao Leonora.
Ciao.
Vi saluto pure io. Ciao.
Ciao
Senza
Silvana.
Leonora. Ciao a tutti, ci vediamo la prossima settimana.
Ciao from Ortigia. Ciao.
Ciao.
Grazie Nick, as always.
Pinula. Ok.
Ciao, vi lascio pure io perché senza Leonora non capisco niente. Ciao Nick, ci vediamo la prossima volta.
Oh, ciao, Silvana.
Ciao, alla prossima. Ciao, ciao.
La
Ciao.
prossima settimana, Silvana.
Ciao, alla prossima settimana. Ciao a tutti.
Okay, so let's finish where we left off. I was in the process of adding Pam. So
My birthday, December 1st, 1955. In San Jose, California.
Not positive, but you might be related to Susan Finley.
No. I don't.
gotta get Larry in here too.
Yeah,
Okay,
so actually, so my birth name is Robert Lawrence, to confuse matters.
Yeah.
That's fine. With a W?
Yes.
Weather's getting a little crazy in Omaha right now.
Weather?
The weather in Omaha is getting a little crazy.
Oh
Yeah,
no. I've heard it's crazy all over down over there. Stay
Hey, Jim,
safe.
so have you got all this now?
Great.
Jim Beckman, are you with us?
Yep, I'm still here.
So now we can see how Pam is connected to the Italians of Omaha, Carlentini, and beyond.
Yay.
So we're getting lots of hints here. And I don't know where these hints are coming from, and I don't know how accurate they are, but I see there's a lot more to be added to your tree, Pam.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go back. I was able to research back to the early 1800s on Pam's line.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably a lot of it. And I see up above on her dad's side, Nellie Mae Burks.
That was my grandmother.
Yeah, so it looks like it's connecting in pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So these are correct.
Yes,
Yes.
they are.
These are because they bring the profile picture over with them as well.
I know, that's nice.
Yeah. So so I think we need to research more about this picture.
Yes.
And see if we can figure out what's in there. There's, I don't know if you've noticed that there's an enhancement tool.
Yes.
When you click on edit photo, you can choose
Oh, within Ancestry now.
adjust, sharpen, all of these cool things.
Oh.
Was that a release?
Yeah, this has been around for several months, I'd say.
Oh, okay.
And they're trying to compete with one of the other biggies out there that has this feature. But there's also a lot of other photo sharpening tools and colorizing tools that are available. What I might do too is save this picture as two separate files and then use the editing tools, because it will probably be thrown off trying to edit both images as one. But yeah, it's kind of a cool thing that you can do.
That is cool.
Yeah. Nick, whereabouts are you located now?
I live halfway between Houston and Galveston in the Gulf Coast of Texas.
Okay.
We're in a place called League City.
Oh,
Okay.
And we came down here in 2010 after our daughter got pregnant. They had moved here because her husband got a job at NASA at the Houston, at the Johnson
wow.
Space Center. So we can get you fixed up with a tour of the Space Center when you come on down.
Oh, that sounds great.
Or if you prefer historic towns, Galveston is just amazing. I had a visitor here a week, 2 weeks ago, and he just loved Galveston. Very historic port city, and buildings dating back to the 1840s. But I know that's nothing compared to Sicily.
No, yeah, really. Yes.
All right,
We have
so
gone to Carlentini. We went to Carlentini in 2003 and just
really,
roamed around and went to the church that, that little church there. But we didn't know anything, or, we were still in the,
Still researching.
yeah.
We did learn about arancinis, so that's been a good
Yeah,
takeaway.
I do make arancinis every Christmas.
nice.
Yeah.
So my wife, well, I graduated from John F. Kennedy High School in Sacramento,
Ah.
and my wife graduated from Elk Grove High School, which is
Oh,
just
wow.
Okay.
there.
Yeah.
And she is having her 50th reunion in October. So we will be in your neck of the woods, as they say, in
Yeah.
October. And I plan to be in Omaha for the Santa Lucia Festival. Well, Robin and I both will be there.
Oh, this
So,
October, huh?
and I'm looking forward to meeting several of our compatriots here in person for the first time. I believe that I've met most of the Omaha folks, but in person. But there's John Manganao. You and Jean are planning to be in Omaha, right, for Santa Lucia? And Teresa, do you have similar plans? No? Okay. Well, one of these
Not
years
as
you'll
of
have to
now.
get down
No.
here for the Omaha Santa Lucia Festival. I want to welcome Jen Mandolfo Carey, who is with us today. Unfortunately, she was unable to make it on the day that we talked about the tour, the Little Italy walking tour. But she is a former Santa Lucia queen, and she was at the Santa Lucia Hall. So tell it, can you summarize your Santa Lucia spiel for us, Jen?
The one I gave at the walking tour.
Yes, please.
Good question. That was off the cuff, but I can try. I think we were standing in front of the hall, and there was a lot of adrenaline and excitement. There was a big group, and it was exciting to see everybody there. But we talked about the hall being a former before it became our hall, it was the postal service. I can't think of the right word, but it was
Fire station. It was a fire
fire station. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, we talked about it being a fire station with the horse and carriages, and we showed indoors where the fire poles would have been located and the barn in the back. We have a photo that we showed, and we talked about the legacy of the queens, and then we have a picture of Fina Cornelia Vendetti, who was the first queen in 1929. So we had a picture with the shadow box inside the hall, and we have a cape that was worn by the queens from the 1960s through about the year 2010, I believe. And that's in a shadow box in the hall. And then we have a lot of banners, like the Grupo Femenile, the women's group. We have other banners that were carried throughout the procession year after year. Some of them are in such fragile state that they're not taken out now. Most of them do go to the parade, but they're just very fragile and they're hard to clean, and just being stored and hung up and displayed. But they were made in Sicily and then brought over here. I don't know, Sherry, what else did we talk about?
I put Annie on the spot, and Abby, and I asked her to tell us what she did to qualify as queen this year, because she's kind of set a new bar for queenship for the festival. So Jen, if you kind of want to talk a little bit about that, because I know she's been involved in a lot of volunteer work this year, and she's just a phenomenal queen.
Yes, we did share that in order to be a queen candidate, then there's 3 criteria for the candidates, and then one of those will be chosen queen. But the criteria are your academics, your community service, and then your ability to raise funds for the Santa Lucia committee. And the way that the candidates do that is with the raffle ticket sales. And so based on those 3 criteria, everything is tabulated and the girls are awarded points. And 50% of that is for the ticket sales, and then 50% is academics plus community service. And so that was something we shared as well. But Abby's just been really devoted to helping out with Outlook Nebraska, which is a group in Nebraska that works with people who are blind. And so I think they're going to be participating this year at the Santa Lucia Festival in the bocce ball tournament, or having a special tournament of their own during the weekend. And I think they might be participating in the procession as well, members of the Outlook Nebraska organization.
And that seems like that might be an ongoing thing too into the future, don't you think, Jen? That's going to be maybe something the next queen can kind of work on as well, that it'll be a partnership with Santa Lucia and the community.
I think so. I think it will continue because of, St. Lucie being the patron saint of eyesight. And I know that's one of our charitable donations. We've donated to the Lions Club in the past as well.
And Jen, I know Joe Chalin talked as well, because he was there. It was a nice surprise to have him at the walking tour. He wasn't on the thank you list, unfortunately, but he did an awesome job too. And he talked about how his family ties into the festival. And I can't remember what he said. Do you recall what his link was?
Oh, yes. So Joe Chalin, his mother, we interviewed her for the Santa Lucia documentary that we made called Devotee, which is on YouTube if you're interested in watching it. It's a 90-minute documentary that talks about the history of the festival, the history of St. Lucie, and the connection between Omaha and Carlentini. But Joe Chalin's mom, I forgot her name, it just escaped me, but anyway, his grandfather was Gaetano Caniglia, who designed the arch. So about 10 years ago, we restored the arch and did a special fundraising event for being able to repaint it and replace the lights and be able to have concrete barriers to support the arch when it's displayed every year, so that it's not knocked down with the weather. And so we did that, and Gaetano Caniglia is the person who designed the arch, and he also designed the plate that the statue of St. Lucie holds. So he designed that plate as well, where she's holding her eyes on a gold plate. So both of those things were designed by Joe Chalin's grandfather. And we have a picture of him from an Omaha World Herald newspaper article. And we have it on a big poster, and we usually hang that up in the history booth. I don't think it was displayed the last couple of years, but previously it would be displayed so you could see his picture.
I have a
Trying to find
question.
the YouTube link. I guess I need to go to YouTube so that I could put it in the chat. So that's wonderful that you have it on YouTube now, Jen.
Yeah, Mike. Yes, it is. Mike DiGiacomo did that for us.
Trying to come up with the right search terms for it. Devotee Omaha, maybe?
Yeah, our devotee film. I think Joseph Gregory has a question for us.
How do you spell that? Devotee.
DEVOTI.
It's worth watching. Everyone should probably watch it. I mean, anybody with ties to Carlentini, it's kind of an important, iconic movie. And what's so significant about it, as Jen's talking, she's in it. She's got one of the lead roles. Her daughter is the main character in the story as well. And it was made, what, 15 years ago now, Jen, or was it more like 12?
It was in 2010, I believe, that we started working, and we spent about 3 years raising money. And then we traveled to Venice to the Chiesa di Santa Lucia, where her body's entombed. We traveled to Carlentini and filmed the festival there. And then we interviewed lots and lots of people and transcribed the interviews. And then we have it narrated by Mauro Fiore, who's a Oscar-winning cinematographer from Omaha. And so, yeah, it all came together and was a labor of love. And we debuted the film at the Joslin Art Museum in August of, I don't know, it was August of 2012, I believe, when we debuted the film.
He's buried in Venice?
Her body is entombed in Venice in the church called Chiesa di Santa Lucia.
She may be brought to Carlentini in the near future. And I know that's been promised before, but there is movement on that in recent months. There's been more movement on that.
And I know the town of Siracusa, which is near Carlentini, they celebrate the Feast of Santa Lucia there as well. And they have their own event separate from the Carlentini event with the procession. And in that church in Siracusa, they have some artifacts of St. Lucy. They have a dress and shoes that she wore before she was martyred. And that's in our documentary film too. So we have footage of that, and we interviewed people at the church.
And that church historically was it was built on ruins. Chris, you probably remember too from our visit there that building it on ruins, it's over 2,000 years old because formerly it was a pagan Colosseum. It's history when you touch the columns on the inside of the Church of Santa Lucia, the cathedral, the Duomo in Siracusa.
So,
Thank you, Monica. You found it.
Yeah, I think Joseph Gregory, do you have a question?
Can you hear me?
Last I heard that you couldn't search the devotee. They were a private link unless you had the link. So I have them. I have no internet, so I have to type it all in by hand, but I will put them in the chat, all 4 of them. There's 4 segments.
thank you, Monica. That's great. So Joe, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Then Jennifer's the person that did the walking tour of Little Italy in Omaha, is that correct?
Well, Sherry was kind of the organizer, and Jennifer was at the Santa Lucia Hall.
Mary
We had
was,
other people at the
Mary
various
also-
other sites.
and Mary
So
led that
there-
as well.
So there was somebody that did a class or a adult thing at Metro Community College. Is that any of you guys?
It was canceled, Joseph. I know we were at the American Italian Heritage meeting that day when
Right.
Anthony brought it to our attention that there was a class. I looked into it. It was canceled because they didn't have enough people to field the actual class.
Okay,
I
thank you.
I contacted the teacher. I just happened to have been, he was a former student of mine. And so I told him that if he wants us to help promote it, we'd be happy to do that. And if he needed guest speakers, we can, afford that to him because we know a lot of people that could help promote, such a class at Metro. And Jen, that might be something you and I might want to tackle someday when you're bored.
Well, it was really under the radar because many people didn't know about it.
Exactly. That there were like 4 people signed up for it. It was a shame that it was canceled. And when I talked to Quinn about that class, I said, if you need any help at all, we'd be happy to assist to promote anything that you want to do. He's a historian in Omaha. So just something to think about, in the future, if you hear from Metro, it could be something that's worth looking into for any of us to take a class. It was only a 4-session class, I believe.
Nice, thank you.
Monica was good enough to put that link in the chat log for us. So we might want to save that as one of our favorites. Download the chat log, folks. If anybody wants to be of great service to our group, they could volunteer to download the chat log on a weekly basis and post it or email it or do something like that. That would be really helpful. I was able to get the Devotee movie up and I have it muted, but you can see some of the images and we're looking at the parade right there. So Jen, how long, I mean, you were a queen, obviously, but before you were a queen, how long were you involved with the festival?
I started going to the festival as a young girl because my grandmother, my Nana, her name's Frances Mandolfo, which her Italian name is Francesca Ruscica Mandolfo. She was always part of the Gruppo Femminile, the women's group. So I grew up with her and all the women at her house making biscotti and peppers and getting ready for the festival every year and seeing her green dress as she marched in the procession. So she was the person who really instilled the love of the festival in me and that I can try to continue today to honor her and honor all of our ancestors and of course St. Lucy. But I've been a member for the last, 20 years maybe. And then I was an officer for about 10 years. And then I was also the chair of the history booth for about 10 years. I stepped down from those roles when my daughter ran for queen just a couple years ago, so I could just be supporting her and focus on that. So my daughter was queen in 2021. She was crowned in 21 and then passed the crown last year. So I think there's been one other mother-daughter queen in the history of the 99 years of the festival.
Annie and Abby. Is there others other than them, or are they the ones that
So Annie and Abby, the current queen, and her mom, and then Grace and myself. And then I think there's been one other I heard from earlier that I don't know. I don't know if they're still alive or if they live in Omaha. I don't remember the name.
So one of the things that happened this week that was kind of cool, a little bit of serendipity, is oh, I forget her name who posted this on Facebook, but she just had this part of the image. And so I thought, well, I mean, that's an easy phrase to look up in the newspaper. So I put in quotes, "Vi to be little Italy's queen," into the newspaper search. And I was able to find the caption. And of course, when I capture the images, I always like to get the name of the paper and the date. And this was actually from newspapers.com. But the thing I found most amusing about this is that there were 5 women profiled here. The first one was actually the winner, Concetta Piccolo. She was the daughter of Joe Piccolo, who had the grocery store at 714 Pierce, which is now Bella Vita. And then Louise Carlentine, as it's done here. But you look, all of these, rest of these are Louises. Louise, 4 Louises, and Concetta won the prize. But I guess there was actually a Cornelia girl that was also running that year, because when you go and look at some of the other gallery pictures, this is Concetta in her queen outfit, and it says down below that Miss Grace Cornelia was her nearest opponent. So apparently she didn't get in that group photo, which is unfortunate. But I just love these little history bits, and you know, getting all the queens into the Italians of Omaha, Carlentini, and beyond family tree is one of my goals. And so maybe as a former historian for Santa Lucia, Jen, you can help me out with that.
Jen, I do have a question sorry, Nick, I do have a question for you, Jen. While he's got that picture up, do you see the cape? That's the original cape. That's not the cape we have in the shadow box. Where is the cape? I know that's a mystery, but where was the cape last seen?
I don't know. I've never seen the original cape in person. And the cape that you see in that photo is not the cape that Fina Cornelia Vendetti wears in her picture in our shadow box in 1929. So I don't know where those capes are. I've never seen them in person, and I haven't heard anything about it. So that might be a good question to ask Charlie Vendetti. I don't know if he could help us, but Fina's son, Charlie, I could ask him, but I know that his mom, the first queen, as she was our first queen, she is painted on the side of Orsi's Bakery, featured in our mural, which you probably have talked about. So if you ever get to come to Omaha and see the mural on the side of Orsi's Bakery, you'll see Fina in her queen dress with the cape and the crown in that mural.
And is that not the same crown that you and Grace wore? It looks different.
I think it's different. Yep, it's a different crown. So I don't know what year that crown came over. That would be another good question.
Yeah.
To be able to uncover. Unfortunately, I think some of our answers are probably not with anybody living today.
Nick, that might be something to ask Silvana. Silvana is the one, Silvana Ainello, Jen, that was on earlier. She is the one that makes all of the banners in Carlentini. She may have some historical knowledge on the crown. But no, I don't think any of us have ever asked her.
So at one point I saw an article about somebody who had made a crown, and I'll have to dig that out at some point, but
And Nick, that was Jill Benz too that posted that picture.
Jill Benz, yeah, she does a lot of nice posts on Facebook about Omaha history. So it is 3:53, and we usually try to wrap up at 4 at the very latest. Does anybody have any words to the wise before we close out?
I just want to make mention that I spoke to Sam Demaro today about the possibility of him coming to one of our Zoom sessions and talking about the 300 shoemakers that once were in Omaha, and then him being the last of the bunch. So I think I cornered
That
him,
would be really interesting.
and
Yeah,
he's committed.
I wanted to mention one thing about kind of my recent discoveries to Mary Ann Safio, since I sort of think I misled you about the Howard Hotel. So the Howard Hotel address does appear on many passenger manifests as the residence of the people that were living in Omaha, who the immigrants were going to join up with. The reason I think they gave that address is kind of like the mailboxes, etc., of the early 20th century. Sebastiano Salerno had his store front in the Howard Hotel. So I don't think that the immigrants were actually residing at the Howard Hotel per se. And this is something that Jim and I have been working on by looking at the 1910 census. We don't find any Italians listed at that address as residing at that address. So, and then it just occurred to me, well, I knew that for my own great-grandfather, that was the address that my great-grandmother gave when she was on the ship with her kids coming over to join up with great-grandpa. But where were they actually in 1910? So I looked, and they're actually living on the corner of 6th and Pierce. So if they were living at 6th and Pierce, why did they give the Howard Hotel address? And the only thing I could figure is it was kind of like that mailboxes thing, you know, where Sebastiano Salerno was sort of the guy that would show up. And that was one of the other newspaper articles that we posted in the Little Italy group, was about the two guys who had the fond memories of Sebastiano picking them up at the train station. And, you know, Kim thought it was going to say they took him to the Howard Hotel. Well, but when you read it, it doesn't say the Howard Hotel. It says the Red Palace. So that's an entirely different place that bears
Red Palace, P-A-L-A-C-E.
Red Palace, yeah. And it is at 14th and Leavenworth. So that's another building that we have to research. But apparently that was a restaurant and a boarding house. And when you look at the 1910 census, you find Italians residing in the most strange places. There is a listing of Italians residing in boxcars by the riverfront. And these were all laborers who apparently were residing in these boxcars and then going out to do track work. So this whole topic deserves a lot more research. And I'm sorry, Mary Ann, because I think I kind of misled you. Or as my grandmother would tell me when she would start telling me about the family history, she would say, wait a minute, I think I'm lying to you.
Yeah, that, you know, it is hard to find some of these addresses. That's the problem, you know. So hotel really wasn't the hotel for them. It was just kind of like the stopping point. Salerno took care of them. They met there or something like these in mailbox idea.
Yeah, let me show you that one article that I'm talking about that's really kind of cool in terms of how it sums it up. But it was the one that I've entitled it Sebastiano Salerno, or it was entitled Salerno Brought Italians to City. And let me see if I can share this now, because it was kind of a revelation to me. Okay, so I don't know if you can read this or not, but this is Robert McFirst did some great profile things for the Omaha papers.
Yes.
And I found a couple other those. But anyway, these two guys, Sebastiano Troia and Charles Mangiamelli. Now, I think actually Troia might have been dead when this was published. But so it's probably the reminiscences of Charles Mangiamelli. But he says Sebastiano Salerno was their one-man reception committee, and he had no trouble picking them out of the crowd. And he loaded them into a horse-drawn cart and drove to the Red Palace, a rooming house / restaurant at 14th and Leavenworth Streets.
Okay.
There were probably, you know, and when you look at 1910, you see a lot of borders. You know, people, there'd be mom and pop and maybe a couple kids, but then there'd be boarders.
Borders, yeah.
Also living in these houses. So I think a lot of that was going on in 1910 as well. Yeah, I'm glad Kim was able to give me enough information where I was able to discover this article, because it really gives a lot of good information, and their excitement at getting a job at the Union Pacific Railroad shops. You know, $1.60 a day was a wonderful amount of money, apparently in 1906 when they arrived. So rather than sleeping it off and doing some sightseeing, they went right to work. They got a job right away the same day.
So Nick, why don't you email that?
At 3 a.m. What?
Email the article to me, okay?
Okay. Yeah, the train was late and it came in at 3 o'clock in the morning, and Salerno was there to meet them.
And they went to work at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
That's great. Great article.
Yeah.
Yeah, email it to me, you know. Okay.
Yeah, I will. I'll send you some pile of stuff.
Because I got the fruit market stuff from you also, the picture of the fruit market. I got that.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, that was fun too, connecting up with Joe Vitale.
Yeah.
So he was the last of the breed, I guess. But I think more needs to be told about the Italian fruit merchants, because they were a large percentage of the market scene.
Right. Okay. Research to do.
Yeah, I know. Got to work cut out for us.
Okay, sounds good, Nick. Thanks.
All right. So Mary Kay, are you with us? Can you turn the recording off if possible? Are you there, Mary Kay? Sometimes she walks away from the screen, so I don't know. She may not be able to turn it off. Okay. So I am, you know, Jen, we had talked about maybe talking to each other at one point. If you have a minute to give me a call, do you have my number?
Yes.
I'd really like to talk to you offline if I could.
Sure, I will give you a call.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. Ciao tutti.
Ciao.
Thank you for coming, especially you.
Thank you.
Folks.
Thanks.
So good to meet you.
Great meeting everybody.
Thank you.